Greetings, dear subscribers and casual listeners of my channel. Have you ever wondered why no one used the time turner to save Dumbledore? What if there was a way to prevent his death, but no one even tried? In today's video, you'll find out the real reason why the time turner couldn't bring Dumbledore back. When I first watched Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, one question kept nagging at me. Was there really no way to save Dumbledore? My friends and I left the theatre discussing every possible solution. And soon we had an idea. Why didn't Harry use the time turner? He had used it before. He knew how it worked. And Dumbledore meant so much to him. Wouldn't he at least try? But he didn't. Why? The time turner is a small hourglass on a chain that allows the user to travel back in time. In The Prisoner of Azkaban, Hermione used it to attend multiple classes at once. Professor McGonagall gave it to her as a special privilege. Later, she revealed its secret to Harry and Ron, and together they used it to save Buckbeak and Sirius Black. So why wasn't it even considered in the Half-Blood Prince and when Snape killed Dumbledore? Harry was devastated. Dumbledore was more than just a headmaster to him. I couldn't stop thinking about this. After digging into the books and discussing with fellow fans, I found several possible answers. First, Dumbledore was already dying. He had destroyed one of Voldemort's Horcruxes and was cursed beyond healing. Maybe Harry understood that saving him would only delay the inevitable. Second, time travel in the wizarding world is dangerous. One of its biggest rules is that you can't interfere with your own past. Meeting yourself or changing major events could have catastrophic consequences. Perhaps Harry simply didn't know how to alter the timeline without making things worse. But even with these reasons, something still didn't add up. Then I found the real answer. In The Order of the Phoenix, during the battle at the Ministry of Magic, all the time turners in the Department of Mysteries were destroyed. That scene never made it into the movies, leaving many viewers unaware that time travel was no longer an option. So in the end, it wasn't a plot hole, it was just a missing detail from the films. Imagine for a moment that the time turners hadn't been destroyed. What if there was still a way to bring Dumbledore back? Would Harry have dared to use it, despite the risks? Let's say, after the tragic night on the Astronomy Tower, Harry was unable to accept Dumbledore's death. Grief consumed him, and the thought of moving forward without his mentor felt impossible. He searched for answers, flipping through books in the library, scouring every memory of his past conversations with Dumbledore, hoping for a clue. Then it hit him. Time travel. He had done it before. He had saved lives before. Could he do it again? But how? In the movie version, no time turners remained. But let's assume Harry, desperate and relentless, sought out an alternative. He could have remembered something Hermione once said, that the Ministry of Magic wasn't the only place where magical artifacts existed. There were hidden secrets all over the wizarding world, relics lost to time. What if there was another time turner? Determined, Harry could have gone straight to the one person who might have the answer. Aberforth Dumbledore. Dumbledore's brother, though gruff and distant, knew more than he let on. Perhaps buried in his past, there was knowledge of an ancient artifact, a relic that could manipulate time. It wouldn't be easy to find, but when had anything ever been easy for Harry? Let's imagine Aberforth reluctantly revealing a legend. A time turner unlike any other. One that was not in the hands of the Ministry, but hidden away in a place only a few knew existed. A dangerous place sealed off by ancient magic. A place even Dumbledore himself had feared. Harry, reckless and driven, wouldn't have hesitated. With Ron and Hermione by his side, he would have set off on yet another impossible mission, one that could change everything. But this time, the stakes would be even higher, because time, as Dumbledore had warned him, is not to be played with. Let's say they found it. Let's say, after facing trials worthy of the most daring wizards, Harry held in his hands a time turner, more powerful than any other. One that didn't just turn back a few hours, but could take him to any point in the past. This was it, his chance to fix everything. But then hesitation. What if it went wrong? Dumbledore himself had always insisted that death was a part of life. He had accepted his fate. Would bringing him back undo something greater? Would it change the course of the war in ways Harry couldn't predict? Ron, ever the cautious friend, would likely be the first to voice concern. "Harry, mate, what if this ruins everything?" Hermione, torn between her love for knowledge and her logical mind, might struggle to decide. And Harry wouldn't know what to do. But let's say he went through with it. Let's say, in the dead of night, he activated the time turner, feeling reality twist around him. The air shimmered, and suddenly he was back. Back to the moment before the astronomy tower. Before Snape raised his wand, before everything changed. Hidden in the shadows, he watched. Dumbledore stood there, weak but composed. Draco, pale and trembling, lowered his wand. And Snape. Snape appeared, his expression unreadable. Harry's heart pounded. He could stop this. He could change everything. But then he saw something he hadn't noticed before. Dumbledore wasn't afraid. There was no panic in his eyes, no desperate plea for life. He knew. He had planned this. Not as an act of defeat, but as a calculated sacrifice. Dumbledore's death was never about weakness. It was about something greater. Harry gripped the time turner. If he intervened, would he be saving Dumbledore or ruining everything? In that moment he realized the truth. Some things were meant to happen. Dumbledore's death wasn't just a tragic loss. It was the catalyst for everything that followed. It allowed Snape to gain Voldemort's trust. It pushed Harry forward, forcing him to rely on his own strength. It set the final battle into motion. And if he changed it, if he saved Dumbledore, would they still win? Would he still be the same Harry? Would he still have the courage to face Voldemort alone? Harry clenched his fists, heart heavy. He had come all this way, risked everything, and now he had to let go. He turned away, time turner still clutched in his hand. He couldn't watch. He couldn't bear to see it again. A rush of wind, a flicker of light, and he was back. Back in his own time, back where he started. Nothing had changed. Dumbledore was still gone, but something was different. Harry wasn't the same boy who had stepped into the past, desperate to fix what had been lost. He understood now. Dumbledore had always known he would face this choice, and he had trusted Harry to make the right decision. Because, in the end, the greatest lesson Dumbledore ever taught him wasn't about spells or magic. It was about acceptance, about knowing when to fight and when to let go. Harry took a deep breath, looking out over the castle grounds. The war wasn't over yet, but he knew now, more than ever, that he had the strength to see it through, not because Dumbledore was there to guide him, but because Dumbledore had prepared him to stand alone, and he would.